Good morning, everybody. Yes, Simphiwe is live in the studio. She's alive and live in the studio. I am live and alive in my home studio this morning, and we are here for it. We're here for Friday. I do love a bit of Friday. It's never going to become something that I just, it's never just another day. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can deal with those. But Friday, you got to make a fuss about, right?
Yes. And it's, in fact, my favorite part of the week because this is when your weekend starts and you can't be happy about Sunday because that's when your weekend ends. You just like, what is
Right.
happening? Why? Yeah.
Right. I loathe a Sunday, but I love a Friday. That is the
Danko.
sensible. Yeah. So, Simphiwe, what's news? How are you?
I'm good. I've had another week of Adulting 101 and I'm ready to unsubscribe, guys. So this week I was dealing with our meter box. So if you have like prepaid
Oh,
electricity, the meter box like refused to work. It wasn't lighting up. And yeah, like the guys only came in 3 days later to fix it. And that wasn't fun. Just for them to say there was like something that got disconnected. Wait for it. When load shedding took place.
all right. So it's not even your fault.
Not
It's the
even.
load shedding fault. And you have to pay the price. By what? So you didn't have electricity for a few days as well?
Yeah, like didn't have electricity for like 2 days. And like I'm cool. I can always sleep at my friend's place. It's my grand that I was stressed about. I was like, oh, I need to transport her to this place. Um, yeah, and so like just getting the food also like put somewhere else. Yeah, it was fun this week. Hey, adulting 101. Don't recommend it. Don't do it, kids. Stay young
No.
forever.
No. And it's weird. Like you had tire issues. You had to sort out some tires that were expensive. Like all things these days are expensive. My God. You know what's so weird is I think you never really notice that things are getting more expensive until one day you check your grocery bill and you're like, what the hell? This used to be half the price for all of this stuff. And
Yeah,
you had this
yeah.
tire issue the other day. I had a tire issue in December. Rena had a tire issue. And
Mm-hmm.
then, so we all had this to deal with in December, which is like an unforeseen expense. And it's not like a little bit of money. So then you suddenly
Oh,
realize, like, oh, okay, so I really don't have a whole lot of cash in my account. That's the end of that, right? Fuck.
oh yes. And then to top that off, I got my car service this week as well. And they're like, "Oh
Oh
yeah,
boy.
your motor plan is coming to an end." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
can I extend it?"
oh,
And they're like, "Yeah, it's 25,000 rand upfront payment." What?
huh?
Excuse me? And they're like, "Yeah, it's for 1 year." 20 what now?
25,000. So hang on, let me just understand this properly because this is wild.
It's
25 grand once off
for one.
down payment.
Yeah,
So
for 1 year.
do they think you just have an extra 25 grand lying around?
I was like, guys, this can't be real. And they're like, it is. I was like, no. So yeah, adulting is not fun. I realized like it was this week where I was like, I'm ready to marry that billionaire. Take me now. I will be a
Oh yeah.
housewife. I don't want to stress about bills anymore. Yeah, like I'm not okay. Like thinking about 25,000 rand and then like just everything. We still in January, guys. It's not even February, and so much has happened financially.
I like
I'm
this.
okay.
Propaganda says need a retirement policy. Yes, exactly. Okay, so Ricky says, okay, where is Ben? This is UFC weekend. I'm um
Yes, Dricus.
I'm excited about Dricus on Sunday because I actually got a message from a friend of mine who they actually work together like business partners with Dricus on something. And he
Mhm.
said to me, "Hey, have you done your good luck message for him?" And I was like, "Oh shit, was I meant to do that?" It wasn't like we hadn't made an agreement or anything, but I thought I've got to do it, right? So last night I recorded a video, and then Dricus reposted it. I was like, "Yay!" He actually saw it, so I was like blown away by that.
That is
And
so dope.
I know it made me feel pretty damn good. You know, when someone who's about to have the biggest weekend of their life, arguably,
Yo. Yeah.
actually takes note of a little good luck message from you, you feel good about that. I mean, I'm not usually the kind of person who would pay any attention to that stuff, but was nice to see, and I really am excited for him. I hope he kicks ass this
Yeah,
weekend. So yeah, Ben will join us later on. He was in Sun City. I don't
yeah,
know
for
if you
his golf tournament.
and I don't want to steal his thunder on this, but Ben won. And we were listen, people,
Yay!
you and I were kind of mocking him and taking the piss out of him last week, remember? And he actually
He needs
won.
a celebratory jingle as he joins
No,
us this morning. He's a
no.
champion.
I'm very excited about seeing Ben on the show a bit later on.
Oh,
We
nice.
we've got a ton of stuff to do today, and I've got a few things that I've got to bring up. Do you know what a porch pirate is?
No, not at all.
So there's a big problem in America and Canada at the moment. What happens is you order stuff from Amazon, and then they drop
Mhm,
it off on your porch. And a lot of people have these. Remember we talked about that Ring camera system that I put in,
mhm. Yes.
and I don't have this product, but there's a Ring door alarm where whoever's dropping your package off from
Mhm.
Amazon or whatever, they press the button, you get a message on your phone that's someone at the door. And even if you're not at home, you can answer your phone. You can be like, hi. Yeah, you can just leave it at the door. And then they leave it at your front door. And when you get home later that day, you collect it from the door. And
Oh, nice.
the thing that you expect is that someone who leaves something in your front door, it remains there for you to collect when you're eventually at home. But
Mhm.
a porch pirate is someone who they grab your stuff before you get home. They see like it's a neighbor with a pair of binoculars
Yeah.
and they see you. Yeah, 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 yeah. They see your delivery being made and then they come and get your package before you get home.
And
Or
do
they're
they
just
hold it
passing by.
hostage?
Or they steal it. So, like, for
Oh,
example, if
no. It's gone for
if
good.
you've ordered right, you've ordered a TV or something, and then these people steal your TV, and when you get home, your TV's gone. Nice,
That
huh?
is
Love
sad.
that.
That is so
I
sad.
know.
Sounds like a very South African thing, hey? Um, so
Well,
shame,
I
man.
don't know whether it happens here at the rate that it does in America, because we don't unless you have couriers who usually won't
Mm,
just leave something, they'll actually only give it to a person someone has to sign, right? So I think it's a
yeah.
much bigger problem in America because there's a bit of trust in society. Like,
Mm,
you expect that your neighbors won't steal the stuff that's been dropped on your front porch. So a porch pirate, it's a big problem in America.
mm. Yeah, that's hectic because now you paid for it. So if I stole your TV, I have a fully paid TV. Oh, oh,
Exactly.
that's stress. That's stress.
And then
And you didn't even get to
you
see it or unbox it.
no,
Oh my
no, no, no.
word.
Just straight up theft. And apparently, the Americans are that the authorities are trying to figure out how they can combat this. The delivery people are trying to figure out what they can do about it. It's just a major problem. So if you think that only South Africa has problems with crime,
Mm.
we don't have one thing we don't have because we we have like different rules about this stuff is porch pirates. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's good. It reminds me of a TikTok video I watched a while ago where this lady, it was during the Christmas period, and she's like, I had ordered a package from Amazon and it came through. It like 2 days later. And when she opened her package, she realized it's not what she had actually ordered. She got these like really expensive parts. And she
Mm.
decided, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna keep these pots and I'm gonna use them because she didn't have pots. Cool. Then, if I scroll down a bit, there's a lady who then also made a TikTok video who's like, guess what, guys? I ordered these pots from Amazon and they've never arrived. And so
Oh
now
boy,
TikTok put the two together and we're like, we know where your pots went.
they found them.
They
Yeah.
found them, and all because people decided to go to social media and brag about the fact that they got these pots, and then she was complaining. So yeah,
Well,
they reimbursed her the pots. She sent them back, but she was like, "I don't want to send them back." But yeah, she sent them back.
so messing with someone's mail, as Congo Chris rightly states, is a federal offense in America. You can actually go to jail
Ooh.
if you mess with someone's
Ooh.
mail or you steal their package. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's serious, serious offense. It's not just petty theft. It's like a federal offense. You can go to like
Sure.
federal prison for that. And then Don mentions that Mark Rober on YouTube has done a whole series on defeating Porch pirates with glitter and fart spray. So they have these glitter bombs that can go. So again,
Sure.
if you have a camera on your front porch and you can see that someone's about to steal your package, you can like press a button and then a glitter bomb will go off. And or fart spray or whatever else, and then you can come out of the house with the fart spray and get them. I mean, it's hilarious, right? But
Sure.
imagine the cheek of someone, you've ordered your wife's Christmas present online and they drop it off like 2 weeks before, and then some asshole from the street who's just passing by goes, "Oh, it looks like there's some packages there on that porch. I think I'm gonna get me some."
Yeah, and what's wild is they don't know what's in the box. And if
Yeah.
Amazon is
Yeah.
anything like Take-A-Lot, where Take-A-Lot will have this huge box for a
Yeah.
charger, like just
Yeah.
for one charger.
By the way, you mentioned charges. They published a list over December, which I don't have with me now, but I remember the top of the list, things that people leave in hotel rooms. And the
Oh,
most left behind thing is a charger. So I suddenly got to thinking, if that's true, if chargers are, and I have no reason to doubt it, if chargers are the thing that is most left behind in hotel rooms, can you imagine hotel staff must have hundreds of chargers?
oh
I mean,
yes.
everyone who works in a hotel must have like 200 chargers each because they go in to clean the room, or someone drops it off at reception, says the previous person in this room left this here.
Mhm.
And chargers are the most left behind of all items in hotels.
Hmm.
So
I think they should start,
over the holidays,
with the soaps or the complimentary drinks that you get. I
yes.
think they should also put like now just leave a charger there just in case, you didn't bring yours. Because I've also had moments of
Yeah.
like that where I've forgotten my charger in the car, it's too far, don't want to walk, and then I'm at this place, I'm like, oh, there's a charger, thank God.
Right. Right.
So
And
they
if you
should do
think
that.
about it, the fact that a lot of people forget their chargers at home, let alone forget them in the hotel room. Maybe the
Mhm.
hotels should have some kind of system where they have a charger that is bolted into the wall or something, so that you don't have to bring one and they don't have
Mhm.
to keep collecting all the left behind ones. Although I don't think they mind that. They could probably start a side hustle of just selling chargers.
Yeah, I agree with the prices that they charge per night. Ah, what's a mere
Mhm,
charger? What's
mhm.
that? Like, it's
See,
nothing.
as phones have got more expensive, people are less likely to leave a phone behind. And
Mhm.
it's not just because they're more expensive, but it's also because people are attached to their phones. They're constantly on their phones. They'll literally walk into trees and poles and stuff because they're on their phone the whole time. But
Mhm.
used to be that people would leave phones lying around. Those were the most left behind items. But now it's the charger for the phone. And I've
Mm,
done that. I don't know about you, but I've left chargers at other people's houses,
mhm.
in hotel rooms,
Yes.
in the car train, in public transport, Ubers. Can you imagine how
Yes.
many Ubers have unclaimed cell phone chargers?
Yeah, you can forget about getting that one back. They're just gonna keep it, the Uber drivers, yeah, they just keep it. But like quickly going back to the point of like how expensive things are, I think Ryan found a clip that's like, this is how everybody feels in 2024. This is definitely
Yeah.
this
Great.
is us.
Okay.
Oh, God. No.
Everything okay, ma'am?
It's just that you've only scanned a few items and it's already $60. I'm so scared.
Okay, I'm a trained professional, ma'am. I've scanned a lot of groceries. I need you to stay with me.
It's just that my in-laws are in town and they want a charcuterie board.
This isn't gonna be easy, so I need you to be brave, all right? What's your name?
Patricia.
Trisha, all right. I need you to take a deep breath. We're about to do the cheese.
Oh my God! The numbers are going up so fast!
It's
That is
definitely
exactly. Mhm.
mhm. Yeah. Like you buy 2 items and you just like, "Can I go?"
Oh my god. No, I feel her pain. I
Yeah.
really do. But listen, I avoided a Lebang style
Scam.
scam this week. I got this amazing email. It was like detailed, and it was from someone who uh, they said, "Listen, my husband died last year, and he left me this grand piano, and I want to give it to you for free because I want it to go to someone who appreciates it. And like it was a really well thought out email, but with no detail that specifically would have indicated this person knew me or listened to the show or any of that stuff, right? And I thought,
Mhm.
oh my God, yes. You know how you immediately jump to the conclusion? You're like, oh wow, I'm gonna get a free grand piano. And those things cost hundreds of thousands of rands.
Yeah,
So I
hey?
thought, and it was so funny because at the end of last year, one of the things I said I want to do this year is start playing the piano again because I used to, and I wasn't very good, but I could play it. And it was like, oh wow, this is a message from the universe that a piano,
Yeah.
because I don't have a piano at home. So I was like, oh, then I can learn on it. How amazing would that be? And I was thinking, which shit I can throw out so I can make space for this thing. Anyway, I got ahead of myself. And then I suddenly thought, I don't know what made me like wake up to this because it's so obvious. I was like, nah, this has got to be bullshit. Because in the email, the woman says, and her name is like Maria or something, which is also, yeah, I'm like, it
Mm.
sounds very like European. Plus, who on earth, if your husband just died and you've got a piano worth hundreds of thousands of rands, would you just give this to a complete stranger? And then
No.
I started thinking, too good to be true. And then she says, all you have to do is pay for the transport costs. And she gives me this email address. And the email address, there's a legit, it looks like a legitimate site. They've got pictures of people moving the stuff and it's all packed in a box. And then they send you pictures of the piano. And I was like, okay, well, I know how to test if this is for real. All you do is you say to them, I will pay you cash on delivery. No exceptions. I don't give a shit what you say. I'm not paying for this unless you deliver first. Because that's
Yeah.
always, unless you get cash on delivery, you never know what's going to happen. So
Mhm.
I'm still waiting for a reply on that, and I know it's not gonna come because it was a scam. But trust me, if it was Lebang, she'd still be waiting for the piano.
Yeah, she would have paid, would have like even given the proof of payment like 30 seconds later. She would have just been like, I'm waiting for a piano, guys. And then a month later, it
Right.
hasn't arrived. Why hasn't
Yeah.
my piano arrived? Like, girl, what's a scam? But I'm
So
glad you didn't
Rachel,
fall for it.
no, thank God, because it was like 4,000 rand to move the thing, and then it would have been 4,000. That's like the tire that you had to buy, right? The
Yes.
scam is common, Gareth. Just Google grand piano scam. So
Mm,
there we go. Tracy
even
says the
worse.
price of a piano is one thing. Try restoring a 117-year-old piano. We got a quote for 80,000 rand. For that price, I'm okay with a B flat sounding very flat. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay.
Um,
Yeah. That's a lot of money. Oh,
yeah. People are they'll do anything. Congo Chris says, "What's the difference between a piano and a fish? You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish." Oh Jesus, that's a bad joke. Oh my
it's
God.
horrible.
First bad joke of the year. Oh God. All
Oh,
right.
no, no. Please stop,
Outrageous.
Conquer Chris. Don't do it again.
So the funny thing that happened to me last weekend, I'm not drinking this year, and so far it's been easy as can be. It really
Mhm,
has. I haven't even thought of alcohol. I've been around people who are drinking quite a lot, actually. And you suddenly realize like how much people drink when you
mm,
aren't, because it just becomes a thing that you do. It's what we do to socialize. It's where you have something in your
mhm.
hand. Usually you're drinking. Anyway, so
Yes.
last weekend, both Friday and Saturday, I went out on Friday night for an early dinner and I was home by like 10 and I was
Sure.
so happy to just be home. I know it sounds boring as hell, right? But Saturday rolled round and I was like, I don't feel like doing anything tonight either. And then I woke up on Sunday morning feeling good. I had so much energy. I was ready to go and do some gym. I mean, I do not believe that I will start drinking again. I'm going to
That
say
is
that with
good.
I'm 19 days into this, and I know it's not long. I've still got a
Mm,
long way to go before I can prove anything to myself or to anyone else, and I'm not boasting yet. But I really get the feeling that I might just not do it again, and I promise you I won't become one of those people who starts, like, lecturing people who drink or whatever. I will not become one of those boring people. That's not gonna happen. But
thank you.
I'll have to so someone who I know who does drink said to me the hardest thing is to have fun watching other people make idiots of themselves.
Yeah. Because you still have a sober mind and you're like, this is not funny. And everybody else is laughing and having the time of their life. I think I understand, Gareth, because this year I'm very adamant on having lunch dates, or meeting up with friends during the day. Like, tell me you want to have drinks at 12 o'clock and I'm back home at 6. That's me now. Like, I am embracing the fact I want to be out and about when the sun is out. And when it goes down, I want to be home. And I'm just like, yeah, nah.
You know
Yeah.
what?
This
I
is
don't think
old
there's anything
age
wrong.
creeping in.
First of
Yeah.
all, I was talking to someone about this the other day. They found themselves like driving home in that massive storm last week. There was a lot of rain, and she couldn't even see like where she was going because the rain was coming down so hard, and it was dark. And she said, "It's not fun. It's not fun." Now, again, you might say, "Well, that's boring. What are you going to just stay at home?" But honestly, like I'm with you. If you can do things during the day, first of all, it doesn't eat into your night. Listen, nighttime is great. It's lovely to party with your friends. I'm not going to completely stop seeing people that I love, but I love the idea of not having really late nights and puzaing and all that stuff as much as you can. I think there's another way. I'm going to try some other things this week.
I agree.
This month,
Mm,
this year, not just this
yes.
week.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
with you. I'm
I
definitely
last
with
drank.
you in that.
Listen to this. Honduras says I last drank in 1986. It was a Cape Velvet Cream.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Sure.
Yeah, and dear
Um,
Linda says a glass of red wine with your meal is just what you need at the end of the day. I don't call that drinking. No, look, again,
that's
I'm
fine.
not going to tell anyone else what to do. It's like smoking. I've never smoked in my life, but I'd never ever go up to a smoker and say, "Hey, you shouldn't smoke. That's bad for you." Fuck
Yeah.
that. No.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Congo Chris says, "I'm going to start smoking weed instead." That I can promise you is not going to happen. Not a chance.
I've
While we're
noticed weed
talking,
is for the few. It's not for everyone.
nah, no. I don't see that being a part of my life ever. Leap year. It's a leap year this year. You know that. There's an extra
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. So we have 29 days in Feb, right? Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Sure.
So 365 days this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was interesting because I watched a video why they were explaining how we come to having a leap year. And then like I think is it every 400 years? Then when we're
Sorry,
supposed to have a leap year.
It's 366. It's not 365. 365 is a
Yeah.
normal year. Right.
Yes. And then like it's quite something that I didn't understand that this is this is a lot. So we every 4 years we have a leap year. That's to
Mhm.
account for like the extra hours and whatnot that they didn't put in the year. Boom.
Right.
And then I think is it every 400 years when we're supposed to have a leap year, in that year we don't have a leap year. And I was like, this is confusing me now. Because it has to do with all like the time and like so we've overcompensated by adding a day. So now we have to
Remove one.
yes.
But I
And
you know
I
what's
recently
important?
learned this. I was
No,
like, wait, what?
honestly, that is 400 years times problem, and we won't be here to see it. I'm not going to spend a single moment of my life worrying about what people are going to do with that extra day in 400 years that gets taken away.
I was sharing this because I thought you would have known this, Gareth, and then you can break it down to me.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, what you trying to say, Sophia? Is this what happened?
And I saw a weird thing on social media over the holidays. Someone said, instead of having these months where there are, 30 days or 31 days and, the leap year thing with February being a short month, apparently if we just divided every month into 4 weeks, we'd have an extra month. So instead of having 12 months, we just have 13 months. And that would make a whole lot more sense. Apparently, mathematically, it all lines up a bit better. And I'm not sure. I didn't check it. But, again, if we're going to if we're going to sit here analyzing the calendar, and we use a calendar right now, the Gregorian calendar, which was instituted in the Middle Ages. So we haven't improved on the calendar. And maybe it's time. Maybe it is time.
But how would the 13th month work? Are we working that month or is it like a full month off? I just need to make sure.
And would it fall in summer or winter or spring or autumn? If
Yeah.
it's an extra
And
month
like,
of winter, I'm interested.
yeah, but also as South Africans, December is very important to us. So I don't want anything messing up with my
See, they
December spirits. Just don't, yeah.
would have to steal at least a few days from December and every other month. And I don't know if people would be happy with that. So let's say they put it in that black hole that everything disappears into between Christmas and New Year, and they started that extra month then. That would be weird, because then you'd have December plus another month, which you could be excited about, right? I mean, that could be fun. I'm not against the idea. Listen, there's always got to be room for improvement. So we've been playing with these ideas. Congo Chris rightly says that the 13-month model doesn't work. 365 divided by 13 is 28.77. So it's not even a round number. I don't know.
Okay.
I just think there's got to be a better way than this once every 4 years you add a day. I feel so sorry for people whose birthday is on the 29th of February, because they only really get to have a celebration every 4 years. I know a lot of them do the birthday on the 28th then, but you're always going to feel a bit left out, because actually it's not really your birthday. It's like someone saying, "Oh, well, your birthday falls on a Monday, so we're not going to do a birthday party for you. We'll do it the weekend after." Weird.
I just feel sorry for them. I'd be like, you know what? I'm only counting I'm only turning a year older every time it's a leap year. And I would
Right.
cheat the system. I would be like, yeah, I'm 2, even though it's been 8 years.
Exactly.
I'd be the smartest person.
Dumiz is when he says government must make that extra day a public holiday. No, we've got enough public holidays. South Africa we're one of the laziest countries. We do not need an extra holiday. As much as
also
I
not
would
in February.
come on, guys, not in February. February's one of the
Not
few
in
months
February.
there's no bullshit in February. You don't have any public holidays. Or March, we have the first one with Human Rights Day.
Yeah, and then this year Easter is also hitting in March. Like Good Friday is going to be in March, end of March. Yeah, so it's going to be a very nice long weekend. It's on the 29th of March. That is Good Friday. Don't ask me how I know, because my birthday is on the 28th.
All right.
So I've studied the calendar.
Yeah, you are our person for the calendar this year. I'm going to be listening to you when it comes to the calendar. Well,
yeah.
I was in a meeting yesterday, and the people that we were meeting with, they'd already looked at their calendar for the whole year. They've planned out everything for their whole year.
Love it. Those are serious people. Those are very serious people. I think that's great. One day, someday I'll get there. I still do the quarter thing, like first quarter, second quarter. For my personal goals, I'm just like, okay, that's how I do it. So for someone, shout out.
Well, as long as you kind of have some idea of what you're doing, then it'll be fine. I don't think you have to, like these people they know exactly what they're going to be doing on Mandela Day, for example, from a marketing point of view. They know exactly what they're going to be doing around Valentine's Day is next month. All of these things, they've got them all planned out. They're very organized. I appreciate that. I think it's amazing.
I
just
that.
couldn't. No, it's not for me though.
Yeah, because you are under stress the year before. They're already in 2025. They're like, yeah, Christmas is done, guys. So what are we doing next year? And you're like, wait, we just entered 2024. Like, what do you mean?
I know.
Wow.
So look at this. This is Ben on the golf course yesterday.
Halfway here at Sun City, got off the worst possible start. I think I had 6 points in 5 holes, a couple of blowouts. Even though Thomas was finding the ball all kinds of places. Turning on 17 points, the field is tight. Oh, this place is so great. All right, Thomas, we need 23 points here if we're going to win this one.
Okay.
No problems.
And well, I hope I didn't steal his thunder, but here he is, the champion. Ben, you won.
Yes, I did. I did. I'm so excited about this.
There you go.
Congratulations. And you know,
Yeah.
Simphiwe and I were taking the piss out of you last week and mocking this competition and saying, oh, it's just ridiculous. It's not a real competition. And then what do? You go and win it and make us look like fools.
Yeah, and it was quite tough yesterday because there was wind, there was so much rain the day before, and it's very competitive. I mean, this is a really cool thing to win. So guys are bringing their A games. And yeah, my A game was good for A division win. So excited about that.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
So did the great Gary player hand you your award?
He did, and that was one of the major highlights. So earlier in the evening, I had won longest drive, and I shook his hand. And then after that, it was, well, I was actually quite lucky because I tied with another guy. And there's various count-out methods in golf that you go back to. And I was counted in, he was counted out, and yeah, I won it. And then Gary gave me a big...
Very well, Ben.
Thanks, Simphiwe. Yeah, that's me.
Look at
BMW
you.
World Finals, here we come. It really was just the most awesome 2 days. And yeah, like when you play that golf course, you can get huge scores, but it's also quite fair in places, so you get lots of birdies. And yeah, it's actually quite weird, like when you play competitive golf, when you really, really care about something, and how you think like how good these pros must be because there's so much more on the line when they hit the ball. And like there was times yesterday I was so incredibly nervous standing over a golf ball. It was a very odd thing because all you're doing is you're hitting it, right? It's a very basic process. But then your heart starts racing, and yeah, it was such a cool experience.
Okay. We can't hear you, Gareth. You're on mute.
Gareth, you're on mute.
So what happens to you now? Do you end up playing in another tournament? Do you go on to another level?
Yeah, what's really incredible about this is that I think there's 52 participating nations within BMW's sort of framework, and you go to the world final. So I'll now be representing South Africa along with 2 other people, and we literally play as Team SA in this huge event in March in Fancourt.
That is awesome. That's very, very cool. Okay, so that's good. And then Mary obviously jumping straight to the grasping. Mary's like, is there money with your winnings, Ben? Yes, some people are only motivated by money.
Firstly, Mary, I'm not single. And secondly, no, there is no money. Do not try and shake me down. You can bask in the prestige, but no, there's no money. I did win some cool prizes. And obviously just to get to go to the world final is, it's awesome. like as you get older, some of the biggest things you always want is like, what's the priceless experience? Because, you buy certain things throughout your life, but nobody can buy their way into this. Even if you have lots of money, you cannot put together what is like this event and this offering. And I think that's what makes it so incredibly sought after, why people speak so highly about it. And, if you look at BMW in the professional ranks, they have huge professional tournaments, and they literally distill the essence of those events down to the amateur things where I am here. And you get to experience that. And they have pro players. So Mr. Gary Player was here for the world final. Who knows? They'll have some other huge name that's going to be there for the week to hang out. And
with fairness, though, how do you get bigger than Gary Player? You don't.
How do you get bigger than Gary Player at the Palace? I agree. So, yeah, but that is the surprise that they'll try and dish up for us. Yeah, I'm just so incredibly excited, and it's just like golf is so great in the right sort of context. Like if you play in a corporate day and you have maybe shitty partners, or the weather's not great, or the course isn't great, and you think to yourself, could have actually been at the office today. Every single minute of being here this week has been like, this is the greatest thing that I could possibly be doing right now.
That's amazing. I love it. All right, so let's get into some sport. There's quite a lot to talk about. We've already mentioned Dricus, but we'll have to get into that too. Of course, Ben and Beyond the Scoreboard, brought to you by Super Bets. We'll talk a little bit about Super Bets in a while. What do we got to look forward to this weekend?
Well, we'll get to Dricus in a second, because obviously that's the big talking point, and it's just so cool how much press and how much info is getting out into the media around that right now. But we need to start with SA20, of course. Now, Durban Super Giants are kind of seen as like one of the major favorites. They had their first loss yesterday, so they are now in second place. The Paarl Royals, though, are the team to beat. They got 3 out of 3. And they're in a really good place where there isn't as much rain as the rest of the world. You know, it's quite dry in the winelands there, so they can get good momentum where other teams might stutter with the weather. So I don't know if that's an unfair advantage, but it's something to kind of look out for. So today we've got the MI Cape Town versus the Paarl Royals. So that's like the Cape Town derby. Those are the two teams there. So that'll be at 5:30. And then tomorrow we've got the Durban Super Giants taking on the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Now they're also a really good side. They are the defending champs. That'll be at 1:30. And then Joburg Super Kings, who have been horrendous so far. Absolutely horrendous. They've had some rain-altered matches, but they've also just been terrible. They're taking on Pretoria Capitals, who are, they're doing pretty well. They're doing pretty well. They beat Durban Super Giants recently. And then Sunday, we got Paarl Royals versus MI Cape Town. So it's a double header for those two teams for the weekend, because how the format works is that you play each other home and away. So that'll be a great weekend in the Cape to watch cricket. So, you know, like I always say, cricket's an amazing sport to play with on Super Bets, because you can play the live stuff. There's various eventualities to kind of bet on and get excited about. And because it's T20 cricket, you know, a lot can happen, and it makes the viewing incredibly engaging. On the rugby, last week was really good because the Stormers and the Bulls won. Bulls winning away in the Investec Champions Cup was a really big deal. Stormers at home were good. They didn't manage to prevent the other team losing a bonus point, but they were full value for their 31-17 win, I think it was, against Sale. So this weekend they'll be going at it again. This time the Bulls will be at home, and they are taking on Bordeaux at 3. So if you are in and around Loftus, you know, it's a good daytime game. And then Stade Francais, who maybe like a really, really great team in the years gone by, not so much anymore. They are hosting the Stormers at 7:30 on Saturday. So if you're not into the cricket, great rugby on Saturday, which then obviously leads to the football. Bit of a rocky start for Bafana at AFCON. They lost their first game 2-0 against Mali. They are now playing again on Sunday. They take on Namibia. And I always find this, like, if you're not a huge out-and-out football fan, African football fan, I always find AFCON quite interesting in that you've got these tiny little countries, like Mauritania plays there. I think we touched on this last week, but like, how good could a team come from a country that is just so little resourced? And, you know, South Africa, comparatively speaking, although Bafana is not like a world strength, you would think they would have the squad depth and the facilities and that kind of stuff to do pretty well. Yeah. But it's not. It's an absolute crapshoot on the results front. Again, this is why it's so fun to play with Super Bets on something like this, because there's lots of games, there's lots of chances for upsets. So this weekend, you know, there has been some upsets. The bigger teams like Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, you would back them. Egypt, they would do better over a stage of time. But this weekend, we've got Senegal versus Cameroon, which is a really, really big one. Senegal defending champs, 7 o'clock on Friday. And then Saturday, we've got Tunisia versus Mali. Mali just beat Bafana, of course. And Tunisia, traditionally pretty strong. And then Sunday, we've got Morocco versus the Democratic Republic of Congo at 4. And then SA will take on Namibia at 10 at Sunday night. So, yeah, maybe not a huge amount of hype around that tournament because Bafana got off to a bad start, but still lots and lots to watch out for. Just like in the Premier League, Arsenal, who didn't play last week, they are now playing. And as I said last week, they are 1 win from their last 7 at that point. So really need a win. Really desperately, otherwise they will just go back to their old ways of just being that nearly team that everyone sort of abuses. They'll take on Crystal Palace 2:30 Saturday, and then Sunday Bournemouth versus Liverpool. There's FA Cup stuff in the mix at the moment, so that's why there's not so much Premier League. So that's kind of like what the bones of your weekend looks like. Into the UFC 297. So first up, I'm going to tell you that it's not a great card. Normally these cards have 3 or 4 really great fights on the main card, and if you just look at the sort of profiles, going to go with no, but it is Dricus versus Sean Strickland, and there has been, like I've said it so many different times, the UFC are the masters at promoting their sport, and you know, everybody wanted to see Dricus versus Adesanya. Then Dricus had a foot injury, so he couldn't fight against Adesanya, where the big beef was. So Strickland, this guy came in, and nobody really gave him a chance, and somehow he managed to win. And good on him. Yeah. You know, he's a really good boxer. He's just an awkward guy to fight against. And then suddenly he became the champion, which is kind of inconvenient because he's not a champion kind of guy. Like, he's a very foul-mouthed, rough, just feral and like human in so many different ways. And now there wasn't really beef between Dricus and this guy at all. But what this guy does is he talks crap about everybody. He'll go hard at your wife. He'll go into the fact that you've cried maybe before in a press conference. He's always going at somebody, and no one ever gives it back. And Dricus he gave it back so hard. Like, this guy always talks about how he had a tough childhood, and Dricus is like, I'm going to beat you more than your dad did. And for some reason, he got really upset about that. He even threatened to stab Dricus if he ever brings it up again. And Dricus, being Dricus, is like, bro, I'm far too quick. You'll never be able to stab me. You can do whatever you want. I am going to win this title. So from 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, so it's in Toronto. So 5 a.m. Sunday morning on Super Sports, you'll be able to watch the main card. So Dricus will probably be fighting around 6:30. But it's always good to watch a few fights before that to get into the sort of momentum of it. And yeah, as I said, I put money down super bets for Dricus last year, and I got pretty decent odds, which was shortened drastically to about even money now. Yeah, it's just simple as that. Strickland is really, really impressive. He's one of the best boxers.
So sorry, can I just ask about the strategy of like betting in advance when the odds are better? So you would say for things like this where you're really like, you want to be involved and you feel that something's really exciting and you want to do it well in advance, you will get better odds if you bet way in advance.
Yeah, so a couple of things shorten the odds basically is that, when something comes out, there's few bets on it. So what those odds will be your sort of general odds that are based around certain theories. And then the more, I don't know, a player in a sort of tournament or something comes into form and they start showing promise, then more people bet on them, so the odds will shorten. In Dricus's case, that when the odds get created, it's not like they're fighting or playing, so to speak, before that. So there's no evidence of the form getting better. But then what happens is you get a lot of media hype, and then you get guys like me who talk people up. And then slowly but surely, when people start putting all the bets down, it's like, well, it's not going towards this guy, so now he's shortening. That's kind of how it works. So yeah, I mean, if you're really into an event, like if you want to bet the next Rugby World Cup, you can do that. If you want to bet the next Ryder Cup, if you want to bet the Masters coming up, and you've got a good feeling about someone, you'll get obviously the best odds now. And then you're
basically reminding me too that anything in the world can be bet on. There's someone somewhere offering odds on everything.
Well, I'd like to say offering markets, because that's what these things come down to, right? There's a market of interest in someone, and there's a market of interest in an outcome. And that's why it is so fun to play on these kind of things. And that's why I think as a sports fan, it's cool to kind of like get it early on an idea or on a result you think is going to happen. So I don't want to talk Dricus up too much. I think I've never been, as I've said many times, I've never seen someone who knows their sport as well. And I think preparation-wise, they're going to have 2 or 3 extra tricks that the Strickland camp won't have. And to his credit, he's got as far as he's got, Strickland, by just being the one gear kind of guy. He fights a certain way. Whereas the Dricus, because he first had to fight his brothers growing up. He then had to fight in kickboxing, and then he went into the EFC. He's fought a variety of people in a variety of different ways. And a lot of the time, Americans kind of forget this because they just kind of grow up, they do well in amateurs, and they fight UFC. To get into the UFC as a foreign fighter, you've often got to go through quite a few hoops. I mean, Dricus was fighting folks in Eastern Europe who don't get drug tested and who have like massive henna tattoos on their chest for advertising. Like he's done the hard yards this week. So I think if I was to go for a prediction, I would go second round submission win for Dricus, because once he gets a couple of shots in, he's so physically strong, and I would go with a rear naked choke second round submission. That's how he's going to win this fight.
All right. So Carl says, Ben, please don't mess us around. I was going to get up at 5 to watch. I only want to watch the DDP fight. Are you sure about it being at 6:30?
Carl, pretty much. I mean, I watch all these cards, and that's kind of how it works out. So even if you get someone who has a first round knockout, they'll then pad the transmission with like other videos and promotions for other fights. And there's I think three round fights, and then there's a co-main event where there's 2 women fighting for the vacant bantamweight title, I think it is, and that could go 5 rounds. That could be really long, but ultimately look on that sort of thing.
Okay, well, Ricky says in the comments too that the main card starts at 5 a.m. There are 4 fights before the Dricus fight. It all depends on how quickly those 4 fights go. So Look,
It's a
if you're
similar
such a
kind of time
fan-
period.
And if you're such a fan, on Sunday morning, wake up at 5, make yourself some coffee, and chill. You can catch up with your emails. You could sit there and, I don't know, read a book, do whatever you want
Yeah,
to
but
do, and then
it's
wait for the fight to start. Are you about to go and enjoy a hotel breakfast, Ben? Is that what's going on there?
not just a hotel breakfast, the palace breakfast. I'm here
Oh.
because I thought, because I've got quite a busy morning, but the palace breakfast is where, again, time will stop. Sorry, one last thing I kind of didn't point out, because I mean, personally, and I say this selfishly, I'm never too interested in tennis Grand Slams until they get to the nitty gritty. But of course, there is the Australian Open right now. So whether you like men's tennis, women's tennis, in the women's, there was quite a few big seeds that already tumbled out, including our favorite, Ons Jabeur, who lost 6-2, 6-love.
Ons
Oh.
Jabeur, I remember her.
Yeah, Ons Jabeur, she's hammered, thrashed. So I think 4 or 5 of the big lady seeds are already out. In the men's, not so many. Generally that's how it works as well. If you're looking to kind of play on the markets with tennis, is that women's tennis is a bit more up and down, a bit more unpredictable. The guys, especially on sort of hardcore tennis, where there's less specialists, like say the French and the clay courts, you get good sort of consistency. So Djokovic is still in on the men's side, and of course Alcaraz will be on the bottom side of that draw. So all goes to well. It could be Alcaraz Djokovic final if they win their matches.
Awesome stuff. Okay, Ben, lots to think about, lots to get on with, and well done again on your win. And if
Thanks,
you want to
guys.
win, then go along to Super Bets, and you can find out exactly how you could take part in all of that. Super Bets, of course, support responsible gambling, strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. South Africa's Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. And we'll check in with Ben again next week. Ben, the champion. Simphiwe and I owe you like at least, I don't know, a bottle of champagne or something for having mocked you remorsefully last week.
I am absolutely.
I think it was our sarcasm towards this entire thing that made you just want to do better. I really think so. Yeah.
That was exactly it.
We're keeping him humble. That's all.
That was it. And so yeah, I mean, I'll obviously be the bigger person. Next week, I'll bring the trophy into the studio, and I'll
look
rummage,
at you.
and I'll rummage through the Fenton trailer of prizes that I got last night to see if I can give you 1 or 2 things.
Oh, thank you, Ben. You don't have to.
You know what? The greatest prize is spending time with Mr. Gary Player. You got to do that. So,
Guys, last night he was amazing. I mean, he really is, like, he's old. He's 87 or whatever. Yeah. And, everyone's met an 87-year-old before, and they generally fall asleep halfway through a sentence. He's still got it, and he's funny as ever. And he's becoming more and more matter-of-fact as he goes. And he delivered some absolute pearlers this week, which I'm not going to share now because the context is kind of wrong. You need to get into it. But this dude, he is actually really funny. He's got, like, stand-up comedian kind of elements to him. But he's still sharp, and I mean, eventually he was getting sort of tired of the interview last night, so he just started singing a song that he liked the lyrics of. He's the absolute showman. And then unfortunately his wife passed away a couple of years ago, and now he's talking about how he's single and how he's got this list and he's meeting all these chicks. And he's like that. He's just the most adorable guy in so many ways, but just funny as well. He made this week as well.
I love it. All right, Ben. Enjoy the hotel breakfast, and we will see you on Friday next week. There we go. There's Ben.
All right, guys. All the best. Thanks for that.
Pinsky. Very good. Isn't that cool? So we've got winning.
Super dope.
Winning in the Friday. I like it.
Love it as well. The pressure's on you and I now, Gareth. We need to do something with our lives this year.
I got to win something this year so that I can at least compete. I don't want to be the biggest loser on the show. The pressure. God.
Oh, I love it. Like when one of my friends does something really great, and I'm not jealous of like the achievement. I'm just like, okay, if you can do it, so can I. So I need to, pull up my socks. I need to do better. I need to also like keep up, because I don't want to be that friend like when all your friends are like, I've done this and done that, and then it's just here comes Simphiwe.
And they introduce everybody. Like, this is Ben, who's just won the BMW championship at Sun City, and this is that's Simphiwe, and that's all they say.
No, don't want that. I also want a bit of a pause and people be like, wow, you guys are friends?
Oh,
This is Simphiwe
yeah.
who's won like 5 awards and she's done this, Yeah, like I aspire for that.
So,
So yes.
coming up after 7, the brilliant Siv Ngesi, who we haven't had on the show this year yet, but it's only been 2 weeks, so we knew we'd have to get him on at some point. But we love having Siv on, and he's got lots to talk about. So we'll be joining him in just a couple of minutes from now. But I did want to refer to this because it is the week that Matric results came out. I don't know if you saw
Mhm.
this, but the Minister of Education, and we try to avoid politics, but you can't in this country. So, Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga said that the Matric class 2023 deserved to be celebrated, perhaps more than any other group before them. Why? Well, out of more than 700,000 pupils who sat the senior certificate exams, 34 learners have emerged as top achievers nationwide. Speaking at the ministerial breakfast session on Thursday, she said that South Africa's top matriculants represented much more than just academic excellence. Because of the class of 2023 not being an ordinary class, they've demonstrated extraordinary perseverance by a period marked by post-pandemic challenges and really withstood the storm. You need to remember success is a beacon of hope for your peers. So I thought about this. It's 2023 matrics that we're talking about, right? The
Yeah.
pandemic was in 2020. And
Mm.
did she say this about the 2020 matrics?
I think so. But you know what was frustrating is when we did the comparison of the fact that the matriculants had to write their exams during load shedding. They didn't stop the load shedding schedule for the matriculants. And then just for Christmas, for 18 days, we had electricity, with no interruptions. And I think that's a very flawed way. If you want to now be like, oh, our kids did so great. No, like give
We've
them the
given them like,
tools to shine. You could have given them the 18 days so that they can write and not stress about when they're studying and how not to study. And then Christmas, everyone will make a plan. We'll make a plan on how we do it. So I
no,
think
but
that was also just frustrating.
I'm tired of people using 2020's problems as an excuse. And this Minister of Education just hasn't had a good idea since, I don't know, 2014. And she's now blaming the 2020 pandemic. If you're in 2023, sure, you were in high school during that time. But I mean, for God's sake, what are we going to, for the next 10 years, be still blaming the 2020 pandemic? Really?
But that's what they do. That's what they do. It's up their alley. It's the reason why every time they're like, but in apartheid, guys, before 1994, it's the MO. I'm just over it. So, I mean, shout out to the kids that passed well and did well. Like, kudos to you. I don't think it's easy. Yeah, like I think I had it a bit easier than you guys because I didn't have to worry about load shedding. But at the end of the day, like we need to celebrate kids that are actually achieving the marks. Because they've dropped also the like pass rates and whatnot, which I'm not a fan of. So there's more kids who are not passing well.
Mm,
I don't think we should celebrate that. I think we should celebrate kids that have done 70% and above. Great. Let's
sure.
celebrate you. You the people that we need in our society. Everybody
One of
else,
the
you pass
things,
with 40.
one of the things when we still had newspapers and we still cared about newspapers, one of the cool things was that you would get to see who the cleverest kids in matric were, right?
Yes.
You'd start the year and you'd think, okay, well, matric results, and usually it wasn't anything to write home about because generally across a nation, there are going to be a lot of people who are just average or shit. And the thing that would pull you through that is you'd see like a full page spread with all of the faces of these brilliant people, these boys and girls who just shot the lights out with like 6, 7 distinctions and,
Yes.
extra subjects. And it would be amazing. It would always be, you'd make you feel good about the country. First of all, you'd think like, wow, we live in a
Yes.
country with are brilliant people. Because who cares about the
Yes.
average? Who's interested in the average matric? And who's interested in the kid who fails everything?
Yeah.
Nobody. No one cares. I know there are probably some parents right now going, oh, don't talk like that because my kid is suicidal because they didn't pass matric. Well, too bad. You
No.
counsel them. I'm not here to do that.
Yeah, and this whole thing of coddling kids, especially with their matric results, it doesn't help. At the end of the day, you need to get into varsity, and varsity is very, very clear on what you need to achieve in order for them to even consider you. And you're not competing with just, 300 matriculants in your area. No, you're competing with the rest of the country. And I think that's the wake up call to say, yeah, you're no longer just competing with your community. It's the world now. You want to go to Harvard, you need to actually keep up with Harvard's standard. And this is the standard. Doesn't matter. They're gonna look at you and be like, "Oh yeah, I come from South Africa. That's great." But like, what is your mark in maths? What's
Yeah.
you
No
know?
one's
They,
sitting
you're
there
just
going, "Oh,
another
well,
number.
we need more average South Africans." No, you've
No,
got to
you
be
don't.
unbelievably good at everything. And I love, the fact that you said earlier it's going to be a year to win something for you. And I think we've got to start winning again. This
Yes.
this bullshit of like celebrating mediocrity has got to stop in 2024. That's one thing we can throw away.
Like,
Do you think?
yeah. And I always say, like, we can celebrate. I mean, I remember in our like high school and primary, they also used to like give kids that have like improved like by 10%. So they say you're a 50% student and you became a 60% student. I think that is something to celebrate, because that means you're growing. But just to celebrate the average 50% person, or just to celebrate the fact that you had 100% pass rate, but when you look at the actual like average of how much kids are passing by, it's like by 40%. That's ridiculous. Those are things I don't want to celebrate. I'd rather celebrate the kid that was constantly improving, the kid who's number one. There's a reason why there's a top 10.
No.
You
know what?
always want to be in the top
You-
10. Come on now. Like,
If you went from being a 50% student to being a 60% student, there's no reason you should get a certificate in front of everybody. That's something you can
Sure.
celebrate at home. That's something you can take home and you can say to your gran, "Hey, listen, I'm not a loser anymore. I managed to get more than, the crappy score I got last time." That's quietly something you don't want everyone knowing you're a bullshit 50% average student. And if you've lifted your standard by this much. Now you're in the 60s. Here's a certificate for you, average kid. Fuck. So
all right.
ridiculous.
I'm just saying.
Really.
Like, especially when it comes to marks. And what I was taught, that like your matric mark is what's gonna carry you for the rest of your life. Let's be a bit more harder on the kids. Let's just
It's it
raise the
isn't
bar.
it isn't the most important thing in your life. Matric, you won't even remember what you wrote in those exams.
Yeah.
10 days after you've written them, you won't even remember a thing from them. Let's just move on. And if you can't achieve there, achieve somewhere else. But don't be an average, boring, middle of the road person. That's all.
Please don't. And let's not celebrate
Okay.
kids passing with 40%.
No, for
we're
God's
not
sake.
doing that.
All right.
We're
So
not doing that.
we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the fantastic Siv Ngesi, who's anything but average, will join him and get your Friday off to a brilliant start. Don't go anywhere. CliffCentral.com. It is Friday. Woohoo! All right, it is Friday. Simphiwe and I here to look after you and start your day off right. And we're going to be joined in a couple of minutes by Siv Ngesi, who has not been on the show for some time, but we always love having on the show. Also got a couple of things to still talk about in the news. We'll get to those just now. Apparently, the Japanese Space Agency has braced for 20 minutes of terror with a moon landing attempt. How's that for interesting? The Japanese are doing that. And the Pope, just when you needed to hear from the Pope about sex, I mean, if there's one person in the world you don't want to hear about sex, it's the Pope, right? Pope has some advice for us, so we'll get to that just now. We've also got a couple of other things on the agenda. Simphiwe is going to tell us about the top 10 most expensive music videos. And I just saw the most stupid video on social media that I've ever seen. And that's saying something. So I'll play that for you. in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'm interested to hear your one. In fact, that's a bit more like,
Well,
I wonder what could that video be. I really do. Because the bar is that low.
all right. Well, let's in the meantime, while we're getting stuck into this this hour of the Friday morning show, let's get into the 10 most expensive music videos ever made. I'm pretty sure they would have all been made in the 90s when music videos were still a thing,
Okay.
and where you had to hire a whole lot of dancers, you had to dress a set, you had to have it was like a movie production.
Okay. And
in
like,
I don't know if that still happens. Do people still do like full production feature film quality expensive movie production stuff for a music video if they stop
I
doing that?
think so. I don't know because I think like it can look like high end and then it can be super cheap.
Sure.
So I think that's the one point in it. But I was just surprised at how much these music videos actually cost. So they say on average to make a music video is between 20 and 30 thousand US, yeah. Yeah, 30,000, right? US dollars. So what I'm about to share with you guys, those music videos are not even in the thousands. They're in the millions. And I don't understand how we could have, yeah. And making an honorable mention at number 11. I did not think this music video cost this much. It was Heartbreaker by Mariah Carey. And that was 4.3 million US dollars. That's at number 11. Honorable mention. So now you know that it is getting worse. So you guys
Jesus,
ready?
that's not cheap. Wow.
That is
Okay,
not
let's go.
cheap at all. So at number 10, we have Rolling by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
Don't
rolling,
know
rolling. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. At number 9, we have Victory by Pete Diddy featuring Notorious B.I.G. and Busta Rhymes. And that was $4.8 million. So yeah, hey, it's getting very, very expensive. At number 8, we have Make Me Like You by Gwen Stefani. When last did you even hear Gwen Stefani's name? At 4.8 million US dollars as well.
That's expensive. Wow.
That is expensive. At number 7, we have Too Legit to Quit by MC Hammer. And this is
Damn right.
$5.3 million. Like I was just like, wait, what?
legit.
Guys?
Too legit to quit. Yeah, that was a big music video in its time. No, it was a serious thing.
Sure. At number 6, we have Bad by Michael Jackson with $5.6 million.
Right.
I thought Bad would be much more up, but yeah, okay. And then at number 5, we have Black or White by MJ as well with
Right. So Michael
$8.5
Jackson.
million.
Yeah. In fact, when you mentioned expensive music videos, I immediately thought of the music video for Scream, which he did with Janet Jackson, because that was like they tried to make it look like they were in a spaceship or something, and flying around, and they had dancers and like amazing lighting and all kinds of special effects and stuff. But I don't know, maybe it doesn't even make the list.
Well, we're still going to get into the top 4, right? And then top 4 is held by Madonna with 2 of her songs, which is Die Another Day and Bedtime Story. And they both were about 9.9 million US dollars. So
Right.
it's getting more expensive. In the top 3 was Estranged by Guns N' Roses, which was $10 million. for a music
Jesus.
video. 10 million. Oh, can I get that tender?
Yeah, but I mean,
And two.
in those days, money, right? So like now it's like 100 million.
Yeah, but this is of all time. So even our new, like Beyonce is not even competing here. And she's done some incredible music videos. So, hey, yeah, guys, they were serious about money or at least spending money on their music videos. At number 2, we have Express Yourself by Madonna with $11 million spent for that music video. And I was just like, wait, what? But at number 1, it is one that you were spot on, Gareth. It is Scream by MJ and Janet Jackson. And they
Damn.
spent.
Look at
Want to
me.
take a guess? Want to take a guess at how much they spent?
$20 million.
Okay, that's too much. No, they spent 13 though. They spent 30, and this is the
I
most
just want to
expensive music
just want to say,
video of all
like,
time.
Simphiwe did not tell me what music video it was. She didn't give me
Sure.
any insight to this at all. First I knew was this morning that we were even talking about this. And I guessed out of all the music videos of all time, I got it. I used to be that much of a fan. Huh?
Yeah. I had to rewatch the video yesterday because I was like, wait, I need to see where this 13 million was spent. And it was absolutely worth it. I think, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Look at this amazing human being on screen with us. This lovely Siv Ngesi creature. Look at this guy. Hello. How are you, motherfucker?
Gareth Cliff, has anyone called you racist again? When's the last time? I'm sure they're always trying to call you racist. Like, now
You
you've
know
got
what?
2 blacks on your show. Oh my God.
know.
Like, you must be so
What?
extra racist. These 2 are
You know-
just a front and pawns in Gareth's racist white
Do you know
supremacist
what?
plan.
So 2 quick things on this. First of all, even if someone was stupid enough to do that, I would not give a shit. You know that about me. But
I
the
know, my
funny
friend. I usually call you.
you do. The funny thing is that during that case, which is now famous, which I had against Mnet in 2016, both parties agreed in their preliminary arguments that I was not, in fact, racist. So it is now on the court record that Gareth Cliff is not a racist. So in other words, if you call me that, technically you're in contempt of court. I'm the only person in the country who can say that.
Hi, my chums.
I love it. All right. So how are you, dude? What's been happening with you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm still getting hate, which means I'm doing it right. I'm still getting disliked, which means I'm doing it right. The day they stop disliking me, they stop talking about me, they stop calling me names, is the day I know I'm not doing it right and I'm not succeeding. So I keep on going. I keep on giving them things to talk about, things to hate, and things to say bad things about me. So it means I'm doing it right. So I'm good. I'm doing well, man.
It's such a funny metric that is how you measure whether someone is successful or not, is you check whether or not they've got enough hate. If they don't have enough hate, they're not important. Isn't that right?
As much as I say that, I don't give a flying fuck what they think. Usually the ones who dislike you are definitely poorer than you a lot of the times. So I've never had
right.
someone hate on me who has more money than me. It's the
Right.
same as when I go to gym. No one with a better body than me will make fun of my body. Only people who are below my body will have anything to say about my beautiful, perfect, ripped body. It's amazing.
Are you still doing the pole dancing and the drag?
Yeah, still doing pole dance, still doing drag. I've actually got pole dancing this morning. I haven't been in like a few weeks. But yeah, that's my biggest form of working out is pole dancing and boxing and paddle.
And are there still people who give you shit about that?
I think even the most homophobic, insecure human sees me on a pole in 10-inch heels. Even he gets a bit tingly in his pants. So it's quite difficult for them when they see me on the pole doing all these things. Even they're a bit like, ooh, I don't know if to throw money at him or throw homophobic comments at him.
Oh, man. All right. So when are we opening up the OnlyFans?
No, my friend, I send that stuff out for free.
I love it. Oh wow.
It's like you ever eaten a banana and make eye contact?
Listen, you you live in Cape Town. You seem to like spend a lot of time hobnobbing around with other celebrities. Is that a Cape Town thing? Do you guys all the celebrities in Cape Town, you all get together every day for lunch or something? What's the story?
There's not many of us blacks here. We're trying to stick together here. No, I'm joking. It's weird because we always seen it. There's not many of us. So when they have
There are
events,
not a lot of blacks in Cape Town. Is that why it works?
no. I have colored and white celebrities, but we all meet at events. So then we become friends, and we have like WhatsApp groups. So we lost
Cape
Siv
Town.
Ngesi. Like we lost our biggest celebrity. You know what I mean? We lost our biggest celebrity to Durban. Now he's in France. It's difficult, man. There's only so many celebrities out there, man.
You know, I've been to Cape Town 4 times in the last month and a half, and I haven't got to see you yet. So we're going to make a plan the next time, because I do think I think it would be fun to hang with you there. It's like everybody in Cape Town knows you. You walk around, you can't move without people recognizing you on the streets. So I think it must be a fun thing to be around you.
Cape Town is about as white as that room you're in. That looks like the most white room ever. Like, is that like the headquarters for whiteness? What the hell is in that room? Someone got a fake plant in the back. What the hell is that room? What the hell?
My study. This is where I plan world domination. I plan it from this room.
With Elon Musk.
Exactly. Right. So Carl says, all the hate goes through and the good stuff stays. That's, I think, a very good way of looking at things.
I know. Right? I must be honest. It's so funny. I go on Twitter a lot of the times, and like there was this thing I shared yesterday about the bridges of kids having to walk through water.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm like, so then behind the scenes, I have a lot of friends. We're coming together, try to find out where they are so we can build bridges, right? So the kids can cross. In my DMs, on the comments, someone's like, "You don't care about those kids. You just want props." I'm like, bruh, no matter, I don't give a fuck what I want. As long as kids get to school and cross the fucking bridge. Have you ever heard the saying that says, as soon as you walk on water, people will laugh at you and say you can't swim? Like, no matter what you do, I always have things to say online. Like, it's like, I've never really cared. Like, I've never really cared.
Let me ask you a serious question about this, because I got off of Twitter a couple of years ago now. I haven't missed it at all. I love, my life has definitely got better. Is there going to be a point where you'll just get off, where you'll decide not to post anymore, where social media will not be a part of your life? Or do you, you're in this toxic relationship with it where you can't get away?
It's like the ANC. Like the biggest thing for me, I don't want anyone to think they can say shit about me and that I won't know on social media. Like, I need you to know that I saw what you said. I need you to know that I wave, like I say, I love and respect. Okay, goodbye. No, bro. It keeps my skin thicker and thicker and thicker. And I don't know. I don't know why I'll never get off that app. It's like that woman that you have sex with who's not the smartest, but she gives great sex.
That's a hell of a comparison to make.
Now,
all right,
I'm just saying, if I was gay, I would have said it like that man. So if you're listening to this and someone was to cut up this piece, I'm saying it could be that man who's, you know what I mean? So, or them.
You see, this is where you wasted time like pandering to people who are looking for trouble. Do you do the pronoun thing? Are you careful about?
No, I don't. Have you watched Ricky Gervais' special?
Yes.
The new one.
Yes.
I love that pettiness, that extra bit of pettiness. I like adding that extra layer. So that extra bit, I didn't really give it I said my comment. I add that extra bit at the end just to go ha, ha, ha. You know what I mean?
All right, I want your opinion on this, yours and Simphiwe's. All right, so I found this on the internet yesterday, and I think this is going to make things worse for kids who you get bullied at school. Now, I'm not in favor of bullying, but I'm in favor of these people being bullied. Do you want to see what I mean?
Uh-oh.
Here it is.
Bullying me, a nice person doesn't bully others. Include me, don't exclude me, or you will see my inner darkness.
This is your final warning
to stop bullying me.
before I tell on you.
On you.
Wait. Guys, whatever happened to after school is after school? Wait, whatever happened to you get home and you tell your mom and your mom is like, what did you do? Did you sort them out? Wait, why? No, guys. No.
I think they should be hung by their underwear off a fence. I think they deserve to be bullied.
You know what?
Talking about bullying, I took my goddaughter to her first day of school. And I
Yes.
said this on Instagram. The overweight kids were shocking, man. There's so many overweight kids in school in grade 1. I'm like, parents, this is abuse. You're not giving these kids a fighting chance.
Right.
Then they get bullied, health issues. And I said it, and I got a lot of DMs from parents not fighting back. They were like, oh man, I feel so guilty. That's my daughter. That's my son. And I'm like, bro, you're not giving them a fighting chance, bro.
Right.
Like wearing grade 7 uniform in grade 1. Like
Yeah, and they're literally spilling out of the uniform. But you know, Simphiwe and Ben and I often talk on a Friday about how we should bring some shame back. Like it's the overriding thing in the last 10 years has been everything is acceptable. Don't make anyone feel ashamed. You know, we should encourage people to be themselves, their real selves, live their best life, etc. But Simphiwe and I really believe, and I know a lot of people who listen to the show do too, that one of the things we're missing in society is shame. And this is kind of what you're talking about there. And even that bullying video, which is hilarious because it's so bad. And I don't know whether they're taking the piss or whether they genuinely made that song and it's like an anti-bullying thing. But like, if you had any shame, you would never put something like that on the internet. Right, Simphiwe?
I would never. In fact, my grandmother would be so disappointed. She'd be like, why don't you? This is what I'm saying. Whatever happened to after school is after school. Like, I might not be able to deal with you now, but one day, someday, give me a few hours. Maybe let me also get my people. It's on. Like, are we not fighting for like some level of respect as well at school? Are we not like what you're gonna send this to your police? Like, oh, check the link I sent you. No, like whatever happened to like.
Or I'll tell on you. Did you see that line? Or I'll tell on you. These are like adults.
No, like what happened to thinking on your feet? Like someone calls you fat and you're like, yeah, so what? This builds character, guys. Like you must.
Yeah.
Yo, I guys.
I think I definitely feel like there's a certain amount of bullying that we all grew up with.
Yes.
But then there's this certain kind of bullying that I think a lot of kids are going through now. That social media, then like you have the whole school turning against you, and it's definitely a level that I'm like, okay, cool. We're not talking about that kind of bullying, but we are talking about the normal kind of bullying that we all went through. That I'm like, there is a bit of healthy bullying, if you know what I mean. Like, you know what I mean?
Character development. Yes.
But there is a bullying that, hey, hectic, eh? When everyone turns on you.
Azalea says bullying is necessary. I mean, look at how well Elon is doing. He was bullied at school.
Azalea, I wish I could pronounce your surname.
I just added 1,000 views to that shitty bullying video. Yeah, but you know what? People need to see that. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Like, just out of curiosity, they drop the song, it becomes a number 1 on the high school charts, and then what? Like, what happens afterwards?
You know, if I went to school right now in 2024, I am sure I would have a dick pic going around the school because we didn't have cell phone then. I would have definitely had a dick pic traveling around, just like willy-nilly, just that little veiny little thing popping, you know. So I'm sure that would definitely be difficult to deal with in high school. I'm so glad I don't go to high school now.
Oh, I'm with you on that front because this shit does follow you home, as Simphiwe said. This goes with you wherever. And you know who are the biggest bullies? It's not guys, because guys get it out of their system with an actual physical fight. It's girls. Girls are way nastier than guys are.
So I listened to a podcast about that. Do you know why they say women are nastier and better bullies? True
Why?
story. Because they're even centuries ago, they used to have to compete for mates. Right?
Oh.
So it's one of the reasons why women will belittle and bring down hot women in a room. Because they're actually jostling and fighting for mates. So they instinctively do that. Then the hottest girl in the room will be brought down, right? Or they even treat each other badly in the workplace. But they have this weird thing of trying to blame us, but actually they do it worse. And they did a study and they talk about how it's because there's an instinct to be able to fight for a mate. And that's how they do it, fighting amongst each other for mates.
Do you agree with what Siv is saying there, Simphiwe? What do you think?
I think it makes sense from I think as the evolution of time, I think women are just I would say that there's definitely this stigma or this thing or belief that there can only be one queen or one person at the top. And so if I'm here doing the show, then there can't be another female on the show as well. And it's kind of like that. It's kind of like if there is one lady already doing it, it's either you knock her off her throne or you create your own lane. And I think but what makes it worse is the fact that we're very friendly with each other. So it's not outright like, I don't like you. I think you ugly. Right. I think you dumb. No, it's a very like, oh my gosh, we should have drinks next week, Thursday. I should tell you what I got up to with Gareth this week. And then 2 weeks later, I'm just talking smack about her. And I'm like, oh, she's so dumb. Hey, like, don't trust her. That's
but what
the
they
issue.
don't understand, if I walk into a club and 3 ladies like me, I'll take all 3 home. You know what I mean? Like if I can't pick, I'll take 3. I'm joking.
No, the issue is we don't want to share.
Yeah, you must share, guys.
Simphiwe makes a really good point because the more guys are friends, the more we actually love each other as friends, the ruder we are to each other. But with girls, the more they hate each other, the nicer they are. Oh, hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you. And you're like, oh, wow, that chick hates that chick.
It's so crazy. I was talking to a woman last night. She's getting divorced. So she says to me, she's a friend of mine, and she's like, oh, I've never met her kids, but I've spoken to them on the phone. She's like, oh, you should meet my kids. And I said to them, there's this weird kind of thing between men. Well, even if you don't know a guy, you end up having a bit of a bro code with them. So I was like, no, I can't meet them before, I've never met the husband, but there's this weird kind of bro code amongst men it's quite weird how even if a guy, you've never met them before, but there's a certain kind of respect that we have with each other that is like weird. And ironically, it becomes that even in toxicity, how we defend men's toxicity, even though you've never met the guy. It's like a weird thing of protecting each other.
I don't know about defending the toxicity, but I do think there is
not defending the toxicity. Wait, let me just rephrase that. I don't mean we defend toxicity, but I do mean there is a bro code amongst guys, even though you don't even know each other or you're not even friends. So like, for example, I'll give you an example. So a friend of mine wanted me to meet her daughter, right? I'm quite close with his daughter. And her daughter's quite like, loves me, like, I can see on Netflix, da, da, da. And then she wanted me to go to her kid's birthday on the Sunday. And I said to her, I can't do that to the dad. I can't show up to the dad's kid's birthday and I'm the famous Uncle Siv and it's his 3-year-old birthday. I was like, no, that feels wrong. She's like, but you don't even know the guy. And I was like, yeah, but I wouldn't want it done to me as a father. Why would I do it to him?
Totally agree.
Like, what is this weird thing with you men of having each other's back and you don't even know each other? I was like,
well, you know what it is? I think it's got less to do with like family dynamics or the relationship between the woman and her husband or a bro code. I think it's just territorial. I think it's pure territory. I think it's like, as a guy, if you go to some other man's house and the kid pays more attention to you than to its father, and they love you, then it's territory, right? You're stepping on his
Yeah.
territory. So
Agreed.
it's pure instinct. It's like animal behavior. We just know this tree belongs to that monkey. I'm not going to
Yes.
go and fuck around in that tree. You know, that's just
Can
how
you
we
say
are.
monkey? Gareth, can you
I
say
don't know.
monkey? You would have called a racist, eh?
Depends how sensitive you are.
Are you saying that I'm a monkey and that's my tree? I'm joking.
But you know what is hilarious is that women they're not territorial. They are socially competitive though. So like women are they'll say, oh, you know, for example, that they wouldn't tolerate certain behavior in their house. But it's not certain behavior in their house because they wouldn't tolerate that behavior on neutral territory either. Women are very, very much more into the social dynamic. Men are territorial. There's a slight difference there.
I'm glad you were able to word it. It is territory, but where does the
Yeah.
respect come from? Because it's the weird respect of respecting
Okay.
another man's territory. Like a man will
Well-
sleep with another man's wife, right? And we don't think that's territory. You know what I mean? We're like,
We don't
But-
think it's territory, but we think it's a possession. Like if you really want to get down in it, and this is uncomfortable for people to talk about because it isn't woke and it isn't politically correct. But men, certain kinds of men especially, it's not a very attractive quality, but they tend to regard the woman in their life, particularly if they're a primitive sort of backward guy, and there are a lot of guys like this, let's just admit it. They're like, this woman belongs to me. So there's a perverse incentive for taking that woman away from another guy. It's like, I'm the king. I'm the king of the castle. I can steal your woman. Do you know what I mean?
I think I have that in me deep down. I have to fight it and
All
suppress
of us
it.
do. All of us do.
That's
the point. You have to suppress it because otherwise
No,
you're a monster, right?
No, I definitely it's because you know the older I get, the better looking I get. I start getting this like gray, and this gray
All
is
right,
good. This gray.
Stella Mokwena. All right,
Oh
This
my
it's okay.
gray is trouble.
Very good.
Mokwena. This is why Stella Mokwena.
Yeah,
This is
come
why.
on.
Look at this, guys. This is
Right,
you know what you call this. This is called grief. This is called grief, not aging. It's grief. So
Let me ask you this: you used the word respect, and I'm like I've had it up to here with that fucking word. I just can't handle it anymore because people don't know what the hell it means. All it means is to look twice. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything about like how you value someone or you don't value them. You think they're important, you don't think they're important, what their status is, how you perceive yourself in respect to them. It's just to look twice. That's all. Read again, spec, look.
In Japanese culture, I don't respect or honor you because of you. I respect and honor you because of myself. So it's less to do about the other person. It's more to do with me.
Do you believe respect is something that you give everybody automatically, or is it something people earn?
You earn respect, but the initial greeting and the initial encounter needs to be respectful. Don't you think?
Well, you don't walk up to a random person and start peeing on their shoes. That wouldn't be very good.
Nah, but I will still give you the respect that I expect. Because once again, it's got to do with me.
All right. So how do you show respect? That's an interesting question. You brought this up. I'm just curious about how it all works.
No, I repeat. I will treat our initial encounter the way I want for me to treat you, or how I want to be treated. That's the form of respect, don't you think?
Yeah, that's almost more like the golden rule, which is older than Christianity, but it's the one that Jesus is most famous for. Is the "do unto others as you would have them do unto you" thing, right? So
Quoting the Bible, Cliff. Quoting the Bible, 2024. What a changed man.
But that is the golden rule, and the golden rule is ancient. It comes way before Jesus. And it's in the Bhagavad Gita. It's in Confucius's writings. So yes, love someone else as you would have them love you. Do unto others. But it's a very difficult thing to do because people. It sounds easy. It sounds like, well, that's how you treat the world will treat you. It's damn difficult to treat someone nicely when you know that they're a total asshole and that they are horrible to everyone around them. Everything. It takes an enormously strong human being to actually do that. Do you always get it right, or do you just try to get it right?
No, I think out there many people think I'm a puss. And I have to just get the perfect balance between that. And I think I'm quite happy with the balance that I have. It can't be too much there. Can't be too much there. You know, Ashley Taylor, Ashley Taylor, one of the most talented actors this
Yeah.
country's ever had, who plays Dolores, which was one of the reasons that he got in trouble a lot. But he always says, Siv, your ego is as big as your heart. He says the only thing bigger than your ego is your heart. And the day that those switch around is the day I'm gonna have to reconsider everything. I do believe that I'm kinder than I am egotistical.
You sort of have to have a little bit of self-belief. And I'm curious also about this. I didn't want to get into like definitional shit today, but I think a lot of people look up to you because you are such an individual, such a unique character, and you really, you don't care about other people's preconceived ideas, and you make a difference in society and all that shit. And a lot of people go, why? How do you do it? How do you get the self-confidence to do that? So I don't know you that well, but where do you think that confidence comes from? Do you think it comes from the way you were raised, or do you think it comes from what you've learned?
I was a last born of 3 kids, the first boy, the youngest of a Xhosa family. I was told I was great since the day I was born. So like, I promise you, I'm not even joking. Like, I literally, it was not like I was like, you see, you get these Xhosa men who are arrogant as hell, and you ask yourself, what is it? Because we're absolutely idolized growing up. We're absolutely treated like God's gift to humanity. And then I was the youngest.
By the women of your family, right?
Yes. Then I was the youngest. Then I was the only boy. So my whole family was like, yeah, carry on our name. Ah! So then when you go into the real world, when people tell you how amazing you are, in my head, I go, obviously. So like, interesting thing, but no jokes. But my grandfather, I used to go every single weekend to my grandmother and my grandfather's house. Now, my grandmother was my mom's side, very disciplinarian, quite hectic. My mom used to drop me there. Then I used to walk immediately 10 minutes to my grandfather's house, my dad's side. There, I used to sit down like a king. My grandfather used to serve me, and I used to be like a god. And then when my mom would face me on a Sunday, and then I would overhear my grandfather saying to my mom, wow, he's so special. He's amazing. Like this boy is just, and that's what I got every day. You know what I mean? So now when they're attacking me online, they're telling me how shit I am. In my brain, I'm like, but I'm amazing. And then when they tell me how great I am, in my brain, I'm like, obviously. You know what I mean? So, but that's exactly what I got as a young Xhosa boy. So when you ever meet a Xhosa boy, Xhosa man, and it comes from like this thing that we were always brought up. We go to the bush, we learn these things, and we're told how amazing you are. I do things for you, and all these things, and like, yeah, my sister, my elder sister, she's like 13 years older than me. 13 years older than me, 14 years older than me. She used to say when I was growing up, wow, we used to hate you as a kid because we knew you were different, and we knew everyone treats you differently. And now she's my PA, my sister, my elder sister.
Yeah, but I think there's also something about like the women in any family that they always, if there's one guy, they make him feel like he's the king of the world, right? And everything happens for him. And I think that's a big part of it. So Sanela says in the comments, Siv is spitting facts. I can totally relate. I'm also Xhosa last born. So there we go.
Yeah, bro. Yo, like, let me tell you, in my mother's will, she wrote, not a will, but next to her bed, she had this like file. And she'd always told us, when I die, open this file. And at the bottom, she wrote, my baby, I know it's going to be hard, but be strong. You're the man of the family now. I love you. Like, she wrote to the bottom, like a little message just going in her handwriting, going, I know this is going to be difficult. When my mother died, everyone was around me going, oh my God, what's going to happen? And my sisters were like, oh my goodness, are you okay? Every day, are you fine? Like, don't kill yourself like that. Because we had like I was my nickname is Mavui, which means mom is happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I was born. So
But
it
you
is an
will
interesting.
admit, I mean, you're the first to admit, because I remember we spoke to you after it happened, and you were brittle, dude. I mean, you were quite fragile about the whole thing,
I'm
as
still
anybody.
brittle.
Yeah, of
Still
course.
brittle.
I was with someone last night, well, yesterday during the day, because their mom died on Saturday last week, and she's in her, she's not young, and she's a tough woman. And she looked at me and she said, "You know what? You think you're prepared for it, and you think you can handle it, and you can't, and you are not." And tears came into her eyes, and I thought, you know what? It's a good thing for us all to remember. And you said something to me when we spoke to you on the show after your mama died, and you said, spend every minute you can with them. Um, let them know how much you love them, all of that shit, because it can be over like this. I'll never forget you saying that. And I actually spent an enormous amount of time after I continued to with my parents, because you don't know how long you got them for, right?
Cliff, Chief, hey, losing my mother. Hey, let me tell you guys, losing my mother has absolutely fucking destroyed me. I must be, I had a motorbike accident about 2-3 months ago, and I remember as I'm about to drive in this car, this woman drove in front of me. I remember thinking, "Cool, let's go. I'm happy. I'm ready," kind of a thing. But the
Wow.
instinct took over. Instinct took over. But I know I've always been I do dangerous things, but there definitely is an extra level of I don't care if I die. It's
Sure.
just too painful. I'm fine, right? And then people are like, "Oh, you're suicidal." I'm like, "No, I'm not suicidal. If I could
Yeah.
have if I could pick, I wouldn't die now, right?" But
Mhm.
I can tell people that the pain is so rife that you do want it to stop. And that's why I can see why people go to drugs, they go to alcohol. I can see why. I've never done alcohol, never done drugs, but I know I can see why people try and fill the gaps with alcohol and drugs. I think for me, I definitely try to fill it with a lot of sex. I remember in the early days, woo, I like to pump. And I couldn't understand why I wanted to pump so much. And I wanted to pump and I wanted to pump some more.
Yeah.
And I realized I just wanted the pain to go away. And when I'm pumping, it definitely takes the pain away. But then even during it, you're like, why am I pumping? My mother's dead. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Um,
God.
so yeah.
Jesus, dude. Yeah, you would be a psychologist's nightmare. I mean, you keep them busy for the rest of the millennium. Um, Somebody says here, Theron says in the comments, I love what Siv did for the Christmas period. You went away to Cambodia. Is that right?
Yes, it was
Ooh.
amazing.
Tell me about Cambodia. I know nothing about it.
So let me tell you what I did when in Cambodia. I had a backpack on, a dirty,
Mhm.
dirty backpack. I packed like a few clothes, and then I just jumped. I was in backpackers, no hotels. I would
Sure.
share backpackers. I would be in backpackers, a room of 12 with 11 women and me. Like, it was like Emmanuel. It felt like Emmanuel. You know what I mean? That sex film felt like that. You know what I mean? And then like I would travel. It would force me to meet people. I would plan day by day. I would meet a woman at a waterfall, and she'd be like, "Oh, good to meet you." Would go that way, and I've never met her before. But go that way. I met a guy there. At one stage there was a topic I don't want to get into, but I need to mention it. At
Go on.
one stage, I had dinner with a Palestinian man and an Israeli man at the dinner table. We're eating dinner, we're laughing, they're drinking, we're having a flipping great time. And they would, just like, it's like, where would you ever see this? You know what I mean?
That's wild.
I would like, it just was an amazing place. I recommend everyone to go once. The pyramids, the pyramids, the temples will blow your mind. It's so affordable. The people are beautiful. But it always makes me wonder. We love to blame, we like to blame poverty for our high crime rate. We love to blame poverty.
Sure.
Guys, these people are poorer than we could ever be. Just in 1975, they had 3 years where they lost 3 million people that were killed by a leader, a genocide that you will not believe. I use the G word, yes. They
Yes.
weren't shot, they cut their throats, used hammers. It was a vile, crazy place. But the people, left my
Mhm.
cell phone at the shop, left it for like 20 minutes by accident. Got back, it's lying exactly where I left it. And they looked at me like, why are you so anxious? that no one is going to steal it. So I want to find where our crime comes from, because we love to blame poverty, but they're poorer than us, way poorer than us. Just, 25, 30, 40 years ago, they had a genocide of 25% of their country being murdered and mutilated. And it's an incredible place.
That's an amazing observation. If you get to figure out what it is about us, that because this country we got like such a weird attitude to some things. In some ways, we've got what the Cambodians don't have, I think, because we've got a sense of humor about ourselves. I don't think we take ourselves super seriously. South Africans will turn anything into a joke, and I've always thought that that's very healthy. That's a good thing about us. But we carry a lot of bullshit that we don't have to. And we, for some reason, I just don't think we get the idea of respecting other people. We're using that word again, respecting other people's stuff. Like I've seen people, poor people, stealing from other poor people. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's better to steal from the rich. It's better not to steal, full stop. But when you see a poor person, like I remember, I'll never forget in Cape Town, there was this guy, this homeless dude. It was during the day. I was walking around, like tourist vibes, right? I saw a homeless person passed out. He had peed because his dick was still out of his pants, and there was a stream of pee down the street. A homeless guy passed out on the street, right? And another homeless guy came up, put his hand in this passed out homeless guy's pocket, took out his bank card, and walked away. I was like, wow, that's bad. That's really bad.
I thought you were going to say he started jerking him off. I thought there was like a happy ending to the story. Now you tell me he stole his bank card. I thought there's like a happy ending with like ejaculate all over him.
Well, since you live in Cape Town and you often are, you get into so much shit for saying what you think politically, and you've stood with this party, with that party, you stand with this politician, you say things about this one, and a lot of these politicians hate you because you just say exactly what they don't want anyone to be saying, especially if you are, especially if you're a black man, you can't say some of this stuff, right? Because what are you?
A lot of them are in my DMs, though. A lot of them are in my DMs. Really? Wanting to have lunch, wanting to have lunch, chatting, meeting at hotels, offering me money to keep quiet for the Algoa deal, to be the face of it, giving me money to keep quiet and stop posting less. Buddy, people, oh man, I've had meetings. I will not mention names, but meetings, offering me money, offering me trips, offering me deals, BEE deals, to be able to, and then at the end, I'm like, what must I do? Just post less. Just post less and say less.
Jesus, that's incredible. I know you can't mention names, but would you ever go into politics?
No, I'm too non-biased to go into politics. I see wrong and right. I see wrong and right.
I heard you are being groomed to be the leader of the Umkhonto we Sizwe party, and Jacob Zuma himself has chosen you. Is that true?
Oh God, I literally, I would never be part of a party that has the worst artwork for their emblem. It looks like it was drawn in the times.
So bad. I looked at that logo the other day and I was like, gee, someone actually said, yeah, I will go with that one.
Yeah, we'll go with that one.
We have so many talented people. I mean, Simphiwe climbs on this thing called Canva, and I've seen her work it. It's this unbelievable thing. She just like puts together presentations and and graphics, and like she knows how to work this thing, and she's brilliant at it. But it's not as if you need to draw yourself or anything, right, Simphiwe? I mean, there's so many elements that you can bring into something. And you're telling me that the Umkhonto we Sizwe party didn't even find, like, there's so many talented people in this country who could have come up with a better logo for them. If they'd paid some dude on the street, they could have got better. But it looks like absolute
bad artwork irritates me as much as bad acting in porn does. It just turns me off. I can't handle bad acting in porn. That's why I fast forward to the penetration. Not the hi, I'm at the wrong place. Oh no, I'm so here. Oh no, get to the fucking.
So maybe you need to start a new movement. You start a movement where porn acting improves, where people actually pay attention to the storyline, where it's not just about the straight to the
writing.
pumping. Yeah,
the
yeah.
writing.
You become the first guy to actually make really theatrical, legit pornography.
I want I want the sounds of you know when the vagina farts. I want those sounds because you never hear the vagina fart in porn. Oh no, and the woman being awkward. You know what I mean? I need some of that.
Well, what can we
Oh,
say? You're an artist. You're an aesthete. Look at this. There's that logo.
Look at
Look-
that.
Yes.
Horrible.
Look at that.
Horrible.
Oh
You
my! Look at that.
do-
Is that a penis or is it a part of a cloth?
So
Like
bad, dude.
that, between his legs.
Yes, sis. Okay, so what are you up to this year? Do you do New Year's resolutions and things, or do you just?
I don't believe in such bullshit. I think people are so flipping simple-minded.
So what do you do?
Bullshit. I just carry on. I think 2024 is going to be worse than 2023, guys. I think Cat Williams told us that. I think Japan has faced a beating. I think 2023, between 2023 and 2024, it didn't change anything in the Middle East. I think ANC is still corrupt. I think DA is still useless as fuck. Steenhuisen still hasn't got a Matric. It's still the same as it was, guys. It still hasn't changed. For me
Is
this year,
an election year? Are you voting?
I'm voting. I'm voting for one man. There's only one man I trust with my bank card and my bank pin. That's
Who?
Mmusi Maimane. Mmusi Maimane. Everyone else can fuck off.
Really?
Promise you.
Sure.
For me, I'm biased. I'm absolutely biased. I'm biased as fuck. He's a great friend. I talk to him every single day. Take his kids to the movies. I hang out with his family. I chat to his wife often. The only man I trust with my bank account. He emceed my mother's funeral. I trust him with that. The worst day of my life, he was there. When my mother died, he was my first call, my second call. My greatest friend and my one of my greatest confidence and people I really believe in. And for me, will he win? No, he won't win the whole thing. But will he get? I want him to have as many seats as possible, and I want him to be in the mix.
I think you've just given him a better endorsement than he could ever give himself, because I really think you have some very smart opinions about things. And I've never really, I like Mmusi, but I always thought he was super shallow. And I didn't really, I never really took him seriously. I always thought he was like, because the DA made it look like he was window dressing. And then when he started
When's the last
this,
time you spoke to him? Have you had him on the show?
I had him on the show last year. And I also feel like with politicians, it's very difficult for me to believe anything they say. So, I mean, when you talk about him as your friend, that's like a good endorsement. You don't have to gild the lily. I'm not expecting you to sell him to me, but
No. Apart from, for me, I think Mmusi is a humanitarian more than he's a politician, right?
That doesn't impress me at all. I think the world's full of people who mean well. It doesn't mean a damn thing.
And for me, people are like, oh, and I'm like, there's no one who I trust more. And I'm not selling. I haven't mentioned his party. I've mentioned nothing. I mean, him as a man, I trust with my life. Would I trust Julius Malema with my bank card? I wouldn't trust Julius Malema with the key to my car. I wouldn't trust Julius Malema to keep the condom that I'm about to use tonight, because I don't trust he won't put a hole in it.
Oh man! All right, so the elections, you're gonna go vote for Mmusi. And listen, one thing he did, I will give credit where credit's due, is he did change the law in this country. He made it possible for individual candidates to be elected, and I think that's terrific, because independents should be able to stand. It shouldn't just be parties. So we owe him that, and I think that will forever be written to the history books as one of his.
Who are you voting for?
I honestly cannot tell you yet. I'm doing all these interviews at the moment, and I'm looking. It's definitely going to be an opposition party. I'm not voting for the ANC. I've been burnt, right? So I voted for Cope once. What a waste of time that was.
We all were.
No, but you can laugh at me now, but I really believed. I drank the Kool-Aid. It was when Mosiwa Lekota and Mbazima Shilowa were running together, and they were like, this is a party for the future. It's not a white party. It's not a black party. There's going to be South Africa. And it was, the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was like, good, this is something new. We got to go with something new. All these old guys don't know what they're doing. And they fucked it up so royally. And then I watched the formation of all these other parties. Do you remember when Mampela Rampele was around?
The
kiss. The kiss with Helen Ziller. I mean, that was outrageous. And
they said you could never trust her. She was a side to Steve Biko.
So honestly, I don't
aside to the Steve Biko.
I will say, because you attacked the DA just now and said they're useless, but I must tell you, Cape Town looks fantastic compared to the rest of the
I'm in a conundrum.
Cape Town runs like a well-oiled machine. Streets are clean. People just, they have self-respect there. I know that there are a bunch of homeless people, but that's true for every city in the world. It's just
I'm in a conundrum. I say DA is useless. When I say DA is useless, I mean they're useless in things, the things that they do, the own goals, all the things that they do, yes. But look at my city. My city is beautiful, well taken care of. That's the conundrum. I don't want them to rule nationally, but in the Western Cape, can we just keep them here? We just want them here.
So what you're basically saying is screw the rest of the country. You don't care about us as long as your neighborhood's nice.
Yes, but you guys vote for the ANC. We don't force you to vote for the ANC. We don't force people to. You get the party you deserve.
Well, now you want to vote for someone else nationally, but you'll vote for the DA locally.
I didn't say that.
You
sounded like it.
It sounded like it. Yeah, Simphiwe and I took notes.
I will vote for Mmusi Maimane in everything I do. No,
hang on. I don't want to waste like good time with you talking about politics, because we can do that all year long, and I'm sure there'll be chance to do that. But it's just, I really think like we've got to take ourselves seriously this year. It's a year for decisions, and I'm not big on New Year's resolutions either. But all over the world, you know that 50% or more of the world's population will be voting this year. India, Russia, the US, South Africa, a bunch of countries are all going to the polls, and it's going to be enormous. So there could be a chance for us to actually finally get leaders instead of just shitty politicians. Do you think real leaders exist? Hey, Siv?
I think the person who wants to be the leader the most shouldn't be the leader.
Yes.
That's a problem, though. Hey, so what do you choose from then? The shitty people who don't want to be leaders, who are all like trying not to be responsible for stuff?
I said 10 minutes ago, there's only one man I'm willing to give my bank card and my bank pin to, and I'll trust him with my life.
Mmusi Maimane. So someone says here in the comment, Siv, this is Sanele, you even have an identical haircut to Mmusi.
Oh, wow. So that guy said some interesting things earlier. Now he's talking cack.
Okay, Siv, I want to start a one policy party called the Shambok Party. A Shambok in every hand, a Shambok in every home.
Wow. Chris, are you Zulu? Like,
wow.
Wait, what?
I can't even spell Shambok. It's too Zulu.
It's a very Zulu thing, that one. Bring it this side. Like, I can endorse the Shambok now and again, you know? So,
you know what?
Yeah.
He was going to run for the Shambok Party.
You know what, Tiff? I would put money in education, money in the police department, cut out the corruption, make the politicians, less of them and flipping in parliament, make less of them. I would just do such simple things, man. I just don't understand. I would make sanitary pads free to the 8 million who can't afford. I would do very simple things that I think are no-brainers.
Okay, but what? So let's just, again, before we start blaming politicians for everything, we've got a lot of problems in this country that have nothing to do with our politicians. And you mentioned Cambodia earlier, and you said, like, the funny thing is that Cambodians do not steal. Like, they don't steal.
I didn't say they don't steal.
Maybe they.
My experiences.
Your phone wasn't stolen.
But wasn't stolen. I never felt unsafe. I
So
left
what
all
do
my
you
shit everywhere.
All right. So what do you think the worst things about us are that are not the government's fault, that are our fault as people?
I do think we lack accountability. I do miss. Listen, when I grew up, if you did something down the road, you get fucked up. You pay the price. You pay the price, and occasionally there'll be some collateral damage here and there. They might get the wrong guy, but you know, shit happens. But I do think people who cause cuck must know that there's a price to pay. And yeah, man, I let me tell you something, Cliff. The ambulance to my mother's house when she was having issues was 3 hours late. 3 hours. When I called them, you know what he said? He said, I know who you are. I hope you complain, because usually they are 24 hours late. Right? Huh?
Oof.
What?
That's
And
outrageous.
the guy on the other side was like, hey, I know it's you, Siv Ngesi. Please complain, because usually they're 24 hours late. That can't be normal. That can't be a normality in our country. And that's in DAville. That was in Pylands. Willy-nilly Pylands. So those things for me should be fixed. But there are things that are not government involved. I think the private sector should get involved as much as possible. I think, like, here's another thing about Cape Town. People love to give DA all the credit. But I can tell you one thing. If a citizen walks past here and sees a piece of paper, they're picking it up. Right? If we see someone throwing something out of the car, we're going after them. We're going after them. How could you? And this is disgusting. Take a number plate. We'll share it.
Right.
There is a pride that we have in Cape. There's a pride. In
Yes.
Joburg, you guys are only proud of how friendly you are, how less racist you are. When Pretoria's around the corner where they fucking breed fucking racists, you guys.
Bullshit. Fuck you. Pretoria doesn't breed racists. Pretoria is fantastic. And let me tell you something. Why do you think the president chooses to stay here?
Hey, Deep, we all know there's a nice side of Pretoria and there's a side where they use K-word, every second word. Please don't.
How much time have you spent in Pretoria? I mean, I can attack Cape Town all morning with you, but I'm not going to. I gave Cape Town compliments. I just told you how nice it is. You go and attack.
You guys like to talk about Pretoria, just the section next, what's it called, where the shows are. You like to attack. You like to Pretoria, but I've gone far into Pretoria to go get biltong in places that look like they're having.
Oh, you went and got the best biltong. It was the best one.
The best biltong, where the Afrikaans girls have great legs. The Malva pudding is very lekker, and the biltong was so nice. You want to forgive them for apartheid. So don't tell them about Pretoria.
All right, listen, dude. When are you going to be in Joburg? Are you ever coming up here, or do you try to?
I'm in Joburg all of Feb. I'm shooting a Netflix TV series.
All right, pop into the studio. We'll have you come and entertain us for another morning.
I would love that, guys. It's been a pleasure. Don't be cuck. Be lekker.
Be lekker.
And Cliff, I would love to come sit in that, get a bit of whiteness in that room with you.
I'll do the studio when you come in. Don't worry.
Oh, please.
Listen,
please.
you,
please. I want to be in the study.
I love having you on the show. You always make me smile. You always make me happy. You remind me why, South Africa is a good place. So keep doing that.
Thanks so much, Holmes. Have a good one.
You too. Cheers.
Before I go, they're going to say that this episode, we didn't let the woman talk enough.
Well, you know what it is? Simphiwe owned the whole of the first hour, so don't feel bad.
Okay. If anyone's complaining, I own a sanitary pad charity. Bye.
Yeah. How you cover your ass. Exactly. There we go. All right, Simphiwe, thank you. We will see you tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, Monday.
Yes.
We've got a show Monday morning, 6:00. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Be good. Cheers. Bye-bye.